Yeah, because I've experienced a lot of this throughout my entire life. I remember particularly when I was a young adult, as adult is defined by a calendar, their calendars. What were known as psychotherapists or psychological counselors, psych, counseling the psyche, the mental, the mental path, right? And so I can remember a book, I believe her name was Karen Black, who was a psychoanalyst, much like, remember Carl Hung, J. Hung, right? Hung, like a hung jury, right? And what was known as a codependent relationship. And I can give you one example just within my own family. Because you can have a relationship with a grand creator, the first Kristic spirit, the eternal spirit of fire. We can have a relationship with the eternal spirit of fire, which is the eternal spirit of absolute eternal love, the first creation, the first creative expression, right? Born out of the eternal spirit of fire that is absolute love. It's on fire to give love away. There is that co-relationship. And then there is a co-dependent relationships with energetic, vampiric consciousness that is dead light energy, needing our energy to keep its machinery running. Yeah, okay. So she was talking about in that book that I read about codependent relationships keep on lasting over time and space density vectors between density and multi-dimensional learning speed of learning relationships that best serve us and relationships that don't serve us, and how this relates to servers, routers, networks, Star networks, Star records, recordings. And so with my family, for example, I've shared with you the story of how I entered into the picture, moving pictures, right? That was at a precise magnetic moment that generated a flashbang, right? And how the terminology you can see between reverse flow, if you will, and eternal flow of spiritual creation spheres born out of the first Kristic spiral, worlds born out of what love is, water worlds born out of the pure spirit that is on fire to create worlds born out of what love is, the operating systems. And so my father and my mother, which generated a gateway, the pathway for my oversoul and spirit to enter in at a very precise magnetic moment. And so when I was about 14 years of age, my father said, "We're going to have a little conversation here, young man. Your mother and I had decided, since you were born out of wedlock, locks and keys, wed, like weed, like Weezadex, wedlocks, like dreadlocks." Oh, I dread that. And the language of reverse flow, letters, and numbers as geometrical form in math that represents the visuals, which is the GUI interface. My father said to me that as your father, your mother and I decided that we were going to get married because we brought you into life with the breath of Kemaloati. And so your mother and I have discussed that you have reached a level of unsupervision. You don't need supervising anymore because you are perfectly capable of making proper choices, proper decisions that we have been observing since we brought you into the realm, and feel that you're on your own. You have grown up. So we're taking the leash and the collar off of you. You're on your own. Now you're going to be responsible for your own future choices. Thank you for that. So I realized that my mother and my father made a spiritual choice of integrity to provide a suitable energetic environment in which to provide me the energetic environment that was required in order for me to experience what I was supposed to experience at the time that I did, for the reason that I'm here. So my parents made a choice to make a sacrifice. Because they could have said, like what came out later, if things happen like that, we can just murder the child. And therefore, it's okay to murder the child because you had sex with this particular person, and now you don't want to take responsibility for the seed delivery boy that delivered it to the female mitochondria lab. We'll make that choice for you. So the Supreme Court in Roe v. Wade said, yeah, it's okay. Fool around all you want. Right? Now you can see how this relates to speed and seed, we knowing one from the other, which is a map read of the seed. Whoa, you mean to tell me that a girl, the female mitochondria lab, in a female oversoul or a soul with a spirit can map read the seed of the male? Yes. Which is basically what? A data set, a data packet. No different than sending data through a deadlight AI magnet into your email. So we don't want to breed with deadlight magnets, do you? So you see what happens when you want to accelerate the speed of a black hole, right? Then you accelerate, that's what they did, accelerate their seed. Now you're in a torque speed differential between one seed and another seed. Now we're into seeded races. Now we're into the founder races. Now we're into the keepers of wisdom, the wisdom keepers, and the keepers of the flame. Running the hottest flame, the first flame, the first candle power, the eternal spirit of absolute love. So it's called a map read of seed. Like when you grow seeds in a universe. Wow, look at that seed grow. Wow, it's healthy and experiencing being in a state of love and joy. Experiencing the first line of communication from that atom seed cell. The living cell of the first cell. A mono. Amano. Remember the word went amano, 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 amano? Yeah, amano. I know, Mama. So I'm familiar with the ground about sacrifices, right? And the sacrifices that they make and the sacrifices that we choose of our own free choice on behalf of the one. Anchor the one to the pole. Anchor the pole. The first pole. The first pole. That's right, the first Kristic star that is grounded here with Mama. So Kim Go-Goon sort of sent a speed memo. You know what a memo is, right? Memory. Speed, memory. Speed memos. I got the memo. So this is why I monitor the channels, a lot of different channels, on the speed at which cells, living cells, not dead cells, dead cell light, that requires primal sound and light to keep itself running, right? To maintain the binary video war game going. So that's why the failsafe was invoked. That's why I experienced what I did in 2016. Light yourself on fire, a full phosphorus ignition, right? And so that's why I'm experiencing what I'm experiencing now, why I'm sharing with everyone else, right? What it means to have honor, a word of honor, right? Honoring the one, the first law, first line of communication, which is what love is, right? Barking crystal signals, signals intelligence, the EFFI field, the source from which we become aware of what we become aware of, why we become aware of it, when we become aware of it. Yep. And so we share that with all of you. Why we're all here. Guardrails, the rails, the lattices, the ladder, climbing the ladder. Spiral ladder, going vertical, Mama. Yep, spinning faster. Getting rid of what's been holding our energy captive. Right? And so this is very powerful stuff to experience right now. What I call the liberation of consciousness. From those units of consciousness that believe that they have a right to control what it is that you are, which is energy, which is consciousness, in a confined space, in order to feed on it until it's gone. Right? Just like a grain silo. You know, it's just like, I was thinking about it when I just got done making a salad, okay? And there's a place here in Hilo called Island Naturals. And there's somebody back there in the kitchen that makes a dressing that's called Goddess Dressing. And it is the best dressing I have ever tasted. And I went back and looked at the ingredients, and I could see why. And I realized somebody knows what they're doing. But to purchase that dressing is $13. Whoa. Now we're back to when I was a child about you get what you pay for. And now we're back into commodities, right? And traders, bond traders, soul arcing bond traders, right? And what has value, what doesn't have value, what has the greatest value, why it has the greatest value when you're into the exchange rate between inverters and torque converters of using consciousness, pure consciousness, to experience the eternal light, which is eternal absolute love that's on fire to create worlds born out of what love is. So if there isn't any delay, which means what your consciousness is actually generating is what you experience by virtue of having a license to do that, which is based on the measurement of the purity of the light that we're experiencing, which is our essence, which is our soul, and our spirit, which is the form and the flow of our energy that is tuned in to the musicians, the ascended masters, which are master musicians, which are master conductors, just like a conductor of a symphony orchestra. We're tuned in. We're tuned into the first engine. Yeah. We love to play music. It's all about music. The flow, the form and flow of the music. Tuning in to the musicians. The first musician. Have a great day. We love you all. Be good to yourselves.